Okay, are you guys at home ready to start? So I see lots of activity there. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, she can't hear you.
You can't hear.
I can't hear you.
Okay, let me see in the chat. Okay. Is can you guys hear me? Julie, can you let me know? Julie, you've done this with me. So Julie, can you let me know if you can hear me? Yes, she said yes. So if anybody's not hearing me, I'm going to suggest that you log off and log back on and possibly check the volume on your computer. So it's frustrating, I'm sorry. But I want you to have sound. So we are recording, so that should be going through if most everybody's hearing. So, okay, awesome. Okay. We're going to get started. You can hear it. Good, Denise. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Well, welcome to Cooking with Heart for Diabetes. So I am super thrilled to see so many faces out here. We've got in person, we've got a whole bunch online. So we're going to have a lot of fun the next hour, I promise you. So I can bet money I am going to bring some new facts about fiber today for you that are really important. So we're going to have some fun with fiber. We're going to drool over some of our recipes. So these are delicious recipes that you're very likely going to want to make over and over and over. And next week, we're going to cover meals and snacks and the timing, and kind of that can get really confusing. And then we're going to cover insulin resistance. So when we talk about blood sugar control, and actually it's tied to all chronic diseases, just saying, but when we talk about blood sugar control, we a lot of times talk about insulin resistance, and there's good reason for that. So next week, I'm going to clear up some of that confusion. Don't want to miss out on that. I want to just kind of go over some of the housekeeping things. Everybody should have gotten a binder. I think I do have 2 people that I've mailed in the last day or 2 that are virtual. So if you weren't expecting, like we had not communicated that it's in the mail in the last day or 2, let me know if you haven't gotten a binder. So we mailed out quite a few of those, so I'm hoping they made their way to you. I am recording this, and the reason I record it is because occasionally something pops up the last minute and you're like, gosh, I'm not going to be able to make that class. So you got the recording. It's not quite the same as being in person, but it's a good plan B. The other thing is a lot of people will go back and listen because I go through quite a bit. So it's a good way to review. So I try my best to teach material so that you retain it. But the truth is, you know what, we lose a lot in a day or 2. So so just reviewing it is very helpful. So it takes this is Wednesday, it'll probably be like Monday I'll send it, because I have to go through marketing and edit it, then it gets up to a link. You'll watch it on YouTube, but you can't search for it because it's a private link. So you should have gotten a pre-assessment. I spoke a few minutes ago about that in your binder. If you flip open and in the pocket there's a full sheet that should be a pre-assessment. Take a moment to fill that out. That's just a good way. Unfortunately, I can't, take things like blood pressure, blood sugars, and lipids right now, and then test them 4 weeks later. But what I can do, there's some really actually important concepts that once you ingrain into you, this journey is going to be so much easier. So, and that's what the pre-assessment is for. And then also I want to see where you heard about the classes, because we really like to know what's working and what maybe isn't working. So I'll get to the action steps. That's in your binder there too. So those guys are at home. I really want your participation. So, even if we get rowdy here in the class, I want you to send me chats. Oh, sorry. My son. He'll have to wait. So he's okay. So So you can send through the chat. If you touch your mouse somewhere on the screen, you should get an icon row, and you're looking for the microphone right now. It should be muted, but you can click that and talk to us. And actually the speakers will go throughout the room and everybody can hear you share. The other thing is you can send through chat. That's that kind of bubble, looks like a chat. You can send your answer or question there. So any questions, just send them to me away. So I try and keep track of things going on here, but I always look back through the transcript to kind of see if I missed anything. So, okay, awesome. A big thank you to Trinity Health Foundation and Genesis, because it's a combined effort to bring these classes to you for the community at no cost. A big thank you to the Quad Cities Diabetes Association too. So now, one of my goals is that you, by the end of these classes, are confident in how to plan your meals to control your blood sugars. So that is my primary goal for you by the end of these classes. Now you're going to have delicious recipes. You're going to have the foundation of a really great eating pattern that's going to take you to new heights with your health and all chronic diseases. So I want you to significantly, in a positive way, impact your health. So especially your risk for diabetes. So with every 10% increase in whole foods that you eat, plant-based eating pattern, you decrease your risk of diabetes 7 to 9% over 4 years. Just 10% change in whole foods. That's like 2 or 3 items. That's it, 10%. If you jump to 20%, you double that. So this really, it can make a significant effect without totally scratching everything you're doing, okay? So, and I want you to enjoy what you're doing. For those with a diagnosis of diabetes, we have lots of research showing that plant-focused eating pattern is going to help in decreasing your medication, in decreasing your risk of diabetes retinopathy, and increasing your insulin sensitivity. And that's a good thing. You'll find out more about that next week. So remission is possible. Remission is possible if you're diagnosed with diabetes. Now, the definition of remission is a hemoglobin A1C of 6.4 or less. Now, I really like 5.7, but according to the books, they say 6.1 or 6.4 and off medication for 3 months. It is possible through lifestyle changes, okay? So that's what you're here for. Very exciting to me. Today I spoke on the phone with a mother, an 80-year-old mother that's going to join us in January, and her niece. They're super excited because her son took these classes and lost over 100 pounds. He feels great. So, you know, he just absorbed it and integrated it in. It didn't happen overnight, guys, okay? And I don't want it to happen overnight. Okay, so that's not health. Okay, that's not sustainable. So, okay, so now time for me to stop talking so much. Time for you to participate. So I want you to answer my question with a thumbs up or thumbs down. So those at home, you've got a key on your available to do thumbs up, or you can just show me a thumbs up. Okay, thumbs down. Okay, so thumbs up means that you heard this before. And thumbs down means you haven't heard it, okay? So thumbs up, have you heard people with diabetes need to avoid carbs? Okay, we've got some thumbs up, some kind of oscillating thumbs maybe. So, okay, thank you, Loretta. So down, okay, haven't heard. Okay, there is a lot of confusion with carbs. So it's a common myth. So we're going to clear that up. A little bit before we jump into that, I want to share a little bit about myself. I am not diagnosed with diabetes. My dad battled heart disease and lost it 23 stints later, and many other things. So my mom, she's 83 and she is a survivor of 5 cancers. So she's super healthy. So she's done things like the Grand Canyon rafting, not the easy route, the hard one. The middle of the summer. I don't know why she chose the middle of the summer. So she's been to New Zealand and Australia this year. She went to somewhere in Mexico, I forgot. so she's doing all kinds of things. So I want to be like her. So, but when she was diagnosed with cancer, she changed her lifestyle completely. Stress, exercise, eating. My dad, at 48 young, had open heart bypass. You'd think he'd change what he ate. No, okay. My mom made 2 separate meals. So I got to see what health can look like if you have a healthy lifestyle or if you choose not to. Now, we're talking about diabetes. You're like, well, okay, you haven't encountered diabetes, but okay, here's the thing that people don't know, that you now are going to know. Blood sugars, there's a range, okay, kind of like your thermostat, there's a range that you're trying to keep them in, a high, low. If you've met with a diabetes educator, you've got kind of a range that you're trying to keep it in, different times of day, meal time, those sort of things. But it's kind of like your thermostat, you're trying to keep it in that range there. It's not one point, it's a range. So throughout the day, you're kind of going between this range. That's good. We kind of define that as good blood sugar control. However, even though I'm not going to go outside that range, I don't need any meds or insulin, and I'll keep within that range. But if I go steep up, which usually is going to mean I'm going to drop quickly, I still keep in the range. But if I do that a lot, that will contribute to chronic inflammation and insulin resistance. So I am looking at some point down the road, pre-diabetes, diabetes for sure, and other things, because insulin resistance is a contributor to a lot. And you're going to probably hear that more and more over the next 10 years. I wish it was a little more out there. But so I don't want my blood sugars, even though I know if I ate a whole bunch of sugar sitting down last night, that it would go, whoosh. I don't want that. It doesn't feel good either. Okay, I can tell you that. So I want to have blood sugar control. So I'm going to do the same things that I'm going to recommend you do for lifestyle, even though I don't have the diagnosis. Okay, so let's see. Our food for today is going to be raspberries with fudgy brownies and sweet cauliflower salad. Next week, we're going to do snacks galore. We're going to do some quinoa mini burgers as a snack, or you can make them a little bigger and make them a meal. Then roasted sweet potatoes and a dip, and then a whole bunch of fun snacks. So that's going to be a lot of fun next week. Okay, so I'm going to jump on into our carb confusion. Let's spill the beans, so to speak, on what's happening with carbs and what we should be doing and staying away from. So I'm going to, okay, the computers all day have been really slow. So I'm trying to share my screen here, get over to my PowerPoint. It's slowly going there. There we go. Okay. Okay. So clearing up carb confusion. Okay. So before we jump into carbs, I want to talk about some of the principles for success, because you're here not just to listen to me jibber jabber. You are here to really make changes in your life, to improve your health. And I'm going to share some really fascinating things, but I also want you to make changes in a very positive way in your lifestyle. So in order to make that happen, I have found 4 things 100% of the time have to happen. First, have an open mind. Have an open mind. In other words, try out foods that you would kind of put on the never again list, or try combinations of things, or, buy something that you never thought you'd buy. Just have an open mind. So there's all kinds of gifts in the foods that maybe you've kind of set on the, I'm not going to do that. I promise you're going to be amazed at how your taste buds are going to come to life with some of the foods that we're going to try out together. So it's just be like a scientist, I like to think of it like, because you're going to find some new favorites, some things that you really love that you're going to feel like you're indulging in when you eat them. So I really want to stop that whole myth that healthy food is boring. Okay, that's not true. It really isn't. And I'm going to prove it to you in the next 4 weeks. So second thing is take baby steps. So this is all, for many people, this is the hardest. If you're a hardworking, high achieving person, this is going to be really hard because you're going to be like, Teresa, just tell me everything I need to do and I'm going to just do it. I promise you, this is a priority right now. My health is important, so I'm just going to do it. Because you probably do that in other parts of your life. You know, with your kids, you'll do anything. You know, you'll sit 3 hours in the line at the carpool to get your child and bring them and get the supplies and do whatever is needed for them. Or at work, you're going to stay up late and you're going to prepare. But this doesn't work with lifestyle. Lifestyle is about making small changes that are going to happen even when you're not thinking about it. We have a lot of very successful people in their work that are unsuccessful and unhealthy because they try to just try really hard to grab health and just do it. And it doesn't work that way. I know you have an important life with things that take away your attention. I get that. And so I don't want this to be the only thing that you're supposed to be thinking about or thinking about 20 times a day. I want it to happen in the background because it really needs to get ingrained, almost automatic, like your driving has become. I want it to be something you just do and you feel lost if you don't do. Have self-compassion. So this one, a lot of us are really hard on ourselves. And that doesn't help. It's a demotivator. You know, if you had a grandchild that was 8 years old stepping up to bat, and you had a chance to whisper something before she got to the bat, you wouldn't say things like, "You suck. Pressure's on. You always fail." But we do this in our heads. And it doesn't help, guys. It actually creates cortisol and stress. That's for another talk and workshop. But gosh, guys, it doesn't motivate. What motivates is when you feel good, when you're lifting yourself up. So we're going to do that with one another. But I just want you to recognize that things are going to like flub up. They are. You're going to have recipes that you forget an ingredient, you overmeasure, or it just doesn't taste great to you. That's okay. That's part of the journey. And what I find is that so much of the time there are gifts in the things that don't go as I planned that are more valuable than if it had gone right. And they're there trying to speak to me. But if I don't listen and hear their message, they're going to come back at another time. So I don't know about you, but this works in life in general for me. So, and this works on this journey that you're embarking on or continuing on. And the last one is have fun. So it's really important you have fun for a multitude of reasons, but I want you to sustain this for life, first of all. So you're not going to do it for life if it's not got something fun that you look forward to. Okay, yeah. So, and there's different ways we can do it. I don't know if you noticed, but I have a wine glass with water. I promise you it's water in there. So, and I actually do this at home. Sometimes it has something a little pale yellow colored, but I at home will actually drink water, especially in the evenings, because it just makes it special, because it's special. And I want to be drinking lots of water and I want to treat myself special. So, and guess what? Goodwill has really low, cheap wine glasses. Okay. So it's where we get all our glasses in our house. So, but just have fun. It could be inviting a friend over to cook with you, or call them up on the phone, or putting on podcasts. My 27-year-old, she's podcast queen. She shares with me all the time, all these social justice podcasts. They're great. I learned so much. My 22-year-old, she's the music one. So all this indie kind of stuff, she listens in the kitchen. So, you know, what is it for you? A book on tape? Is it, you know, I love podcasts too. So I listen to all the health gurus on podcasts. So what is it you love to do? So make it fun. Now, if you're like, Teresa, I've done cooking for like 50 years and I don't like it. Well, then can you make something afterwards? Okay. So when on Saturdays, when I do my meal planning and then I go to Aldi's, then Walmart, and I come home and I clean out the refrigerator and put things as stored as I'm going to teach you. And then I sit down and watch 10 minutes of Netflix. That's my treat. So I look forward to it. Do I have to do it No, but I look forward to it. I celebrate myself and what I've done for myself. So find your way and share with me if you've got some to add, because I want other people to find, but you've got to make this something that you love. Okay, so carb confusion. So we hear phrases like starch, fiber, complex, and sugar, and glucose, and what do these mean? So unfortunately, they're terms that have been misused, really, I'd say. So they've gotten confused. The media has done that. Even health professionals have misused them. And so let me give you an example of what's kind of going on here. How many of you have a dog? Okay, I see about 3, 4 hands here. So when somebody says, what kind of dog do you have? What do you say? American
Bully.
Bully.
Bichon.
Bichon. There was another hand here.
Heinz 57.
Heinz 50, see, there we go. So mutt, Heinz 57, we could say Canis familius, designer breed, husky. So you see, we're kind of mixing up terms, but we answer the question. So, and if you're wondering, Canis familius is domesticated wolf. So, but this is kind of what happens with carb terms. We're kind of answering what's being asked, but it's not really being used and it gets confusing. So, okay, what does this mean? So what it means is that we're starting to fear these words because we really don't know what they mean and we're trying to apply them. We're getting confused. So it's not good when fear's underlying something there. And confusion can lead to fear. And then a lot of times we just give up because we're like, I don't get it. I can't figure this out. I'm just giving up. I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing right now. So, okay, let's say that your friend has lost 20 pounds and she said she lost it because she didn't eat any carbs. So now I would never tell anybody to do that. I'm just saying, but that kind of goes around these things. And so she probably is avoiding these foods. And that's what's coming to your mind. Okay, she's not eating pizza and French fries and donuts. And okay, so, but if you're actually avoiding carbs, these things need to be eliminated too. Yeah, nuts, fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Yeah, all those need to be avoided then. So, but that's not what she's probably doing. So, okay, so it's really kind of tough and it's really kind of crazy to try and eliminate carbs. So now, so let's figure out what I'm meaning by carbs and which one we need to really eat more of and which ones are probably not helping us with our health goals. So carbohydrates basically at the top, and then we have 2 general groups, simple, complex. So simple is where sugar goes under there. Sucrose is actually the chemical name for table sugar. So we've got glucose and fructose. You might have heard of fructose. Glucose is what is also known as blood sugar. Galactose is in there, lactose. So those are all things that are going to raise your blood sugar pretty quickly. Okay, they're basically simple sugar. So those are under the simple side, and they have either 1 sugar molecule or 2 combined together. Then we have the other classification, complex, and there's 3 things that go underneath there: starch, glycogen, and fiber. So now starch and glycogen are basically like super long molecules of glucose put together. So it might be glucose and fructose, but they're super long. So hundreds, if not, put together to make a starch molecule or a glycogen. So the thing is, your body can still break these down really quickly. Okay, it just has a real quick, and then your blood sugar goes through the roof. Okay, if you've eaten a whole bunch without anything else. So that's white bread, white pasta, white rice, potatoes without the skin, French fries, breakfast cereals, most all of them. But if we eat a complex carb with fiber, it changes the whole story. First off, your body can't break down fiber. unless you're a cow. So fiber doesn't raise blood sugar any. Now, fiber comes along with carb, complex carb, in Mother Nature form. And so this fiber kind of creates a web, a traffic jam around the carb from Mother Nature. And your body takes time for your body to unravel this traffic jam or this web. So your blood sugar rise is gradual instead of big going up through the roof, steep climb. So fiber with Mother Nature carb, complex carb, is awesome for blood sugar control. So we're talking about brown rice, amaranth, beans, oats, farro, vegetables, quinoa. You've got those listed on a handout in your binder. So, oh, I forgot to do this too. And do this real quick. Okay, so let's just pick this up. I know you guys at home, I'll show you at home what I'm doing once we get off the camera. So, okay, I just noticed that, needed to do that. Okay, so there's two types of fiber. So there's insoluble and there's soluble. Again, we can't chop them up, but they have different purposes in our body. So we call them different types, insoluble and soluble. So in general, wheat bran we think of as insoluble. So that insoluble is usually in the seeds and the skins of your vegetables and your grains. So fruits and vegetables and whole grains. So it's insoluble. What it does is it will scrape the sides of your intestines, not in a bad way. It's not going to make some wounds or anything like that. It just keeps things moving. You've got these hair-like structures in your intestines, and it just kind of like a brush. It's brushing the hair, keeping things moving. Well, that's good, because first of all, anything that's hanging out there that's not moving could be trouble. So it's moving things along so you don't get some toxic things building up. The other thing is your intestines are a muscle. It's like if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So you got to work it out. So part of working it out, that insoluble fiber makes you do a peristaltic wave kind of motion. So that's how you nicely work through your stool. So that's why constipation is solved. Very often we get insoluble fiber. So it also does help you feel full, so that you tend to, if you're paying attention to your hunger and fullness, you tend to eat less when you have that. So soluble is a little different. Soluble is kind of like oats. If you think of oatmeal, when you make oatmeal with the water and cook it, it's got that glunk. And it can be, you let that sit all day and then go try and clean your dish. It's a big solid gunk. So that's kind of what happens in soluble fiber. It creates a gunk with your food. So again, you've got this slow release into your body of the blood sugar. So your blood sugar doesn't sky rise quickly. It's a very slow release that the insulin that you have is going to work with, because many of you may have a less insulin. So you're going to be able to handle that slow, gradual injection of glucose into your bloodstream and keep your blood sugars there. So soluble fiber also makes you feel fuller longer. So, and again, they're both in foods, whole foods, so we really don't want to single any out at this point. But it's really important to understand fiber has really this multifactorial purpose. And there's actually more. It actually is food for the bugs in your intestine, the good bugs that are 70–80% of your immune system. So you can think of, you're either growing a beautiful garden that's going to keep you healthy and well in your small intestine and large intestine, or you're growing a lot of weeds that aren't going to help you. So those are just some really great things about the fiber. So when we talk about how we want to eat, people are like, well, what should I eat, Teresa? I don't even know how I'm supposed to be putting this together. Well, half of what you should eat, ideally, now only about 3% of Americans are eating this way, but that's our goal. We want to shoot for the stars. So half vegetables and fruits, and then a quarter whole grain or intact. I kind of use that word intact because whole grain has been abused and people are confused. So intact means the way Mother Nature, intact, the way the original maker made it. It's got the germ, the bran, and the endosperm in it. Those are the 3 layers. And the manufacturers love to strip out just the endosperm. The endosperm is the starchy layer that kind of in a way feeds the calories for the egg. It's not really an egg, it's a seed, but that's the calorie capsule is the starch. Not much else, okay? All the vitamins, minerals, and fiber and healthy fats are in the other 2 layers that we want. So, and then healthy proteins. So those can be animal or plant. Okay, I'm going to introduce you to some plant because you probably don't need help with the animal proteins. So we want to, you know, just really start shrinking down for some of us that protein, because some of us are probably at half the plate at dinner time. So I don't want to make assumptions here. Some of you might have already worked it down to a quarter. That's great. So, but this is a starting point. Now, some of us are going to find out that the whole grains maybe need to go a little smaller or can go a little bigger when it's whole grain intact. Okay. Most people that are having problems, they're having problems because they're not using intact grains. They're using the refined, you know, the white pasta, the white breads, things like that. Those are going to spike your blood sugar. You're going to have trouble having a healthy body. So I also do put corn, peas, and potato, or yes, corn, peas, and potatoes over in whole grains intact. They're not bad, but they do in your body differently than romaine lettuce, broccoli, kale, okay? Now, Mother Nature, when she made the world, she did not say, I'm gonna make this fit into 6 food groups nicely. So she, you know, so I'm trying to, especially when we talk blood sugar control, we usually wanna take out. So if at dinner you're having a serving of potatoes with the skin, then we don't need to have brown rice and quinoa or any, you know, that's our whole grain. So, okay. So the healthiest that wins the awards, if you look at these articles that what's the best diet, it's going to be the Mediterranean eating plan. So, and that's what we do, an anti-inflammatory Mediterranean eating plan. Now, you can eat Asian foods and eat a Mediterranean eating pattern. Okay. I've had some people say, but that doesn't really ethnically accept things in other cultures. It's an eating pattern, guys. It means beans, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, fish, and a little bit of animal if you want to, and maybe a little dairy, usually grown locally is best, and some quality fats. That's Mediterranean. So now, I want to talk just a little bit about crash diets, because crash diets are something that when we get out there and, you know, we're thinking about losing weight, we might be attracted to a crash diet. A crash diet has rules. It feels like kind of like you're going to be put in jail if you don't follow those rules. There's a large mental load that goes with sticking to it. And it's really hard to like travel the world doing it, going out to eat. So it really isn't something that I'm an advocate for. So just be careful about getting yourself into kind of a diet. And a diet means we have rules that we must follow. So, and a program oftentimes does too. So we don't do that. Now, there are ways you can lose 10 pounds in a week. So I'm not going to show you how, because most of that's going to be water weight. It's your glycogen stored in your liver and in your muscles that is releasing the water. That's going to be 5 to 6 pounds. And then you're going to lose 2 to 3 pounds of muscle, because whenever you have fast weight loss, you lose more muscle than fat. And I don't know about you, but if I'm losing weight, I'm going to lose the fat. So, and you only lose about 1 to 2 pounds of fat. And every pound of muscle burns 96 calories more than a pound of fat. So I want my muscle. Plus, do you have any clue how hard it is after 50
to put on another pound of muscle, it is really, really hard. So you don't want to lose it. So, okay. So basically, if you start doing the math, if you lose 10, 20, 30 pounds this way, you are going to have to eat a heck of a lot fewer calories to maintain that lower mass that maybe you were at 20, 30 years before, but I'll bet you kept your muscle. So you're going to look completely different. Okay, so these are just some of the arguments that I'm going to put out there to not do some of these diet plans. So, okay, so I want you to think about what is one takeaway so far. As you can see, I cover a lot of important things. I think they're important anyways, a little biased. What is one takeaway? The sticky is for you to write one takeaway, not everything, just one takeaway, and I'm going to collect them in a moment and share, because I know that most of us are going to forget 80% of what you just heard by the end of the week. Okay. I know it's very sad. It makes me sad, but that's the truth of learning. And in order to help you learn this and get it to stick, I want to share one takeaway from each of you. So write that down, and I'm going to bring us back. You do have your action steps. Your action steps are in your pocket. The action steps are ideas of goals, action steps you can set over this next week to learn from. You don't have to do any of them, but like I said, you're not here because you want to listen to a lecture on nutrition and watch food demos, okay? You really want this to take hold in your life. And in order to do that, we got to take baby steps and play around and see what works and what doesn't, but it's all part of success on this path. So the action steps are just suggestions. So by the end, I'll bring up the action steps again, and you're going to set one, check one off, or two, but not 5. I will come after you if I see you setting 5. So I'm going to switch actually I don't want to switch yet. Okay, so you guys are seeing me at home. Great. Okay, so here we go. So what you didn't see is I have 2 bases, and I have soluble fiber and insoluble fiber in here, okay? So this is wheat bran, and this is psyllium, basically, that you can find in your pharmacy. So, but this is mostly soluble, and this is mostly insoluble. So I put warm water with it, and I want you to see here the wheat bran separated out, okay? So it's not creating that glunk, that soluble fiber like oatmeal does. So I'm going to flip this over. We've only had like 10 minutes with it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Okay, that's what's happening when you eat fiber. It's a good thing, guys. I know you might be going, oh, but this is a good thing. It slows the blood sugar rise, guys. Fiber is so important, guys, and manufacturers in processed products are stripping it out. So I want you to start getting more fiber in. So, okay, you've got your product. So let me grab a product. Those of you that came in have some products here. If those in the back can help them get a product there. So I'm just going to grab a product here. It needs to have a label on it. So there's 5 things I pay attention to. That's it on the label when I'm looking at whether I should put it in my grocery cart or not. So first, the front, ignore. Ignore this. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars went into focus groups for what they should put on here to get you to put it in your cart. Okay? Ignore it. Go to the nutrition facts and the ingredients list. The first thing I look at is the serving size. Now, I don't really care. I'm not going to tell you what you should be eating for serving size, but I want you to go, according to my hunger, I think I'm going to eat that much or a little more or a little less, because the numbers that you look at next are going to need to be slightly adjusted. You don't need to get out your calculator, but you need to understand, is it a little more I'm going to eat most likely or a little less? The other thing is, if you're comparing 2 products, you need to know you're comparing apples and apples, not apples and oranges. They're much, much better than they were before 2016, but you still got to be your own advocate. So serving size, then I jump to saturated fat. I ignore calories, I ignore fat. Could care less. I don't want you to care. Go to saturated fat.
For the whole day, all your snacks, meals, and beverages, no more than 10 grams of saturated fat. That's it. Now you're going to find something, you're going to be like, yes, there's none. All right. Oh, there's half of one in here. But then you're going to find something that's got 12. You're like, ooh, oh, I got to cut that back. Okay. So 10 is what you're allowed. Think 10 fingers, 10 toes. Okay. I don't ask you to do many numbers. So, so saturated fat, then jump down to sodium. Sodium is linked to blood pressure. We do need some, okay? It's just that we got now too much with the packaged products. So sodium we want no more than, if you have high blood pressure, 2,300 milligrams a day. I know that's a weird number, but try and commit that to memory. 2,300 if you have high blood pressure or high blood pressure meds. If you don't have high blood pressure, then that number is 3,500. Wait, I did that wrong. Sorry, I'm thinking the word health organization. So, okay, 1,500 if you have high blood pressure, 2,300 if you don't have high blood pressure. Okay, so 3,500 is potassium. So, and that's a whole different conversation. But when we talk about blood pressure, potassium ideally should be higher than your sodium, ideally. And you get that from fruits and vegetables. So, sorry about that. So 1,500 if you have high blood pressure or on high blood pressure meds, and 2,300 if you do not have high blood pressure. Okay, so then I usually then jump to the ingredients list, but a lot of people love to land on sugar. Okay, so sugar, the good thing is they've, in most products, split it out to added sugar. Okay, if you have a milk product, you're gonna have lactose, which is gonna have some sugar. So you're like, what? This has sugar? Yeah, it's lactose. Added sugar is what I want you to pay attention to if you're gonna look at sugar. Total added sugar for the whole day for females should be no more than 24 grams. That's 6 teaspoons. There's 4 grams in a teaspoon. 4 grams in a teaspoon. So 6 teaspoons for females, 9 teaspoons for males. That's 36 for the whole day. So if you want a real quickie guide, if it's got 10 grams of sugar, that's 2.5 teaspoons. Wow, this must be sweet. Okay, did I expect this to be sweet? Okay, that's just kind of a guide, but for the whole day. Okay, so guess what? Your Starbucks chai, whatever, extra this and that, is probably going to be over that 24 grams. Okay, and definitely a 20-ounce pop with sugar is going to be way over. Okay, so, but baby steps, guys, baby steps. I didn't say you had to limit it all. So, okay, so then I jump to the ingredients list. The ingredients list, you might need a microscope or something. So magnifying glass, that's the word, magnifying glass to look at. But the ingredients lists are actually very helpful because they're listed by weight. The first ingredient is the heaviest, not by volume, okay, by weight. So you'll see water sometimes, okay? I think mine is water, yeah. So, so the first 3 to 5 ingredients, if you have a word for sugar, that is a lot of sugar in that product, okay? Now, here's the catch. There's 61 names for sugar that are accepted on the labels, okay? So if you're getting a little ping, it's sugar, okay? If it's evaporated sugar cane, it is cane evaporated, agave, honey, anything with OSE on the end, glucose, galactose, maltose, sucrose, those are all sugar words, okay? So any 3 to 5 ingredients, the top 3 to 5, and I say 3 to 5 because some packages only have like 4 products or 4 ingredients. So then, yeah, if it's the 3rd or 4th, yeah, you got a lot of sugar in there. Now, if it's way down at number 12, sugar is in everything, guys. So, but top 3 to 5 I look for. The other thing I look for, the last thing is, and you don't find this too often, it's kind of like going on a scavenger hunt, looking for fiber, true whole grains, intact grains, things like the word amaranth, oats, whole grain. It has to have that word whole, 100% whole is nice to have there. Not just wheat, okay? Brown rice, amaranth, farro, okay?
sprouted something, it's usually a good sign. If it's in the upper couple ingredients, again, normally what we have to do when we're starting to think about health is we're going to have to make a side dish of farro, quinoa, beans, things like that that are going to give us the whole grain that we want. So we're not going to usually find it in a packaged product. Okay, not enough to qualify as that quarter of your plate. So, okay, so tell me, is your product a thumbs up or a thumbs down? We got some down, a lot of ups. Okay, at home, you guys got up or down? Let me know. Send me in the chat. Up or down? Somebody said my can of soup. Okay. Wow, why did we go back there? Okay, let's go back here. Okay, up, I got a up, down. Okay, so great. And thank you for sharing there, Teresa. You got a soup with 1,010 grams of sodium per serving. Eee! Yes, and that's, yeah, 3 servings might be pretty optimistic to think to get out of most your packages. So, okay, I'm gonna jump on over because it's time to cook and have fun with chocolate. I think I'm gonna do chocolate first. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, so we're gonna switch my camera so you can see those guys at home. Let's see here. Come on. Okay. There we go. Okay. Room camera is what I was waiting for it to come up. So there we go. So now you should see my hands here. So I'm going to get gloves on. And my hat on. And we're going to get, okay. So what I love about these brownies is you don't have to do any funky thing like put, parchment paper down and crunch it in the corners, because there's a lot of recipes online for different brownies with that. I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to ask my classmates to do that. So this one's really pretty straightforward. It's just a couple different ingredients that come together, I think, nicely. So I'm going to get out my blender. Now, if at home, I actually do not have a food processor. So I have a blender that works just fine for all these recipes. So if I have a blender, typically I'm going to put the wet ingredients closest to the blade, because unless you have a really sturdy Ninja kind of blender, this is thick. This is thick. So you just find it's best if you put the wet ingredients like the maple syrup, make sure, and you have to just think, oh, should that go on last if you're like putting it in, then flipping it? So just a little tip there, because this really does need some good grinding to get this done. So now tell me, looking at the recipe, what are the ingredients that have fiber in it? Oats, beans, and somebody said it. Cocoa. Cocoa is a plant, guys. I give you full permission to use cocoa. Now, it's not sweetened, so it's not like Nestle cocoa. But cocoa is a fabulous, and I'm going to do 3 tablespoons. And I did 3 tablespoons, the ones that we're going to taste today. 3 tablespoons makes it a little more dark chocolatey. So if you were like, oh, this is a little much on the dark chocolate side, then take it down to 2, okay? So the oats are also fantastic, just regular old-fashioned oats, so you don't need to do the quick oats or anything like that. So just ½ cup there. So my beans here, I rinsed them. So now the beans here, I actually had to, Hy-Vee was out of the no added salt. So I went to the health food section and paid about 3 times as much, okay? And this one has 85, so it's not 0. Now the Hy-Vee no added salt is gonna be pretty much 0. Now, if you get the regular, it's gonna be like, 400 per serving, guys. So now you're gonna tell me, but I rinse it, Teresa, I rinse it really good. Okay, yes, that knocks off about 185 milligrams from the regular can. So if you're stuck, yeah, rinse it, let it sit for about 2 minutes. You need to rinse it for 10 seconds and let it sit, drain in the colander for like 2 minutes. Okay, that's the scientific method to get the 185 milligrams knocked off. So, but to me, 0, 20 is a little bit better than 400 minus 185. So just, they have it at Walmart, they have it at Hy-Vee. It doesn't cost anymore. The organic do though. So I was like pretty bummed when they didn't have that. So, so 1 whole can there.
So black beans. And then we're going to add some maple syrup. Now this is sugar, guys. It's not a magical sugar. True maple syrup has a teeny bit of other things in there, teeny bit. What I do know is like honey, you'd have to have 69 tablespoons to get enough for the magnesium in a day. So, I mean, like anything significant. So I just don't want you to think, what I like about maple syrup is, first of all, it's not just sugar taste. It's got a little other flavor in there, a little. It's not quite as processed as table sugar. Table sugar is actually quite processed. So I'm trying to move the spectrum to less processed as much as possible that my budget will allow. So, and time. So vanilla, about 2 teaspoons, I think. Baking powder. Now, baking powder actually has a lot of sodium. I don't know why I can't get there's the other brand. This is Hy-Vee. Is it Hanes? That is the regular. They have a low sodium one. I used to be able to get it here in the grocery stores. I can't anymore. I'm sure you can do it special order. If you do a lot of baking, I highly recommend it. It's got half. Bread products, guys, if you're 55 and older, are the #1 source of sodium. Bread products. Start reading your label for salt. So if you do cooking, anything you can cut back, okay, any of those recipes you're getting online, they aren't thinking about salt. You can have usually the salt. I'm not saying no salt, but most every recipe can be reduced to about 1/4 teaspoon at least. So, so keep that in mind. So there's a little bit of salt in here too. Baking does need salt. It's part of the process. It also does accentuate the other flavors, but just a little bit. So a little bit of canola, I thought I had here, yeah. A little canola oil. You could use olive oil. I am a huge fan of olive oil, but when we bake, we usually like a bland oil, okay? Good olive oil has a little taste to it, okay? Is it going to ruin your brownies? No. So, and I'll talk about olive oils when we get to this salad. But so I don't use, the only other oil I have other than olive oil is canola oil, and I don't go through it very fast. I only use like a tablespoon or 2 when I do some baking. I don't do much baking anymore. So, but because bland, that's the reason why we used it. So, okay, we're gonna, I think I got all the ingredients. Let me know if I missed anything there. Ooh, I probably shouldn't put that in first. Let's see. We put this on top. I'm gonna blenderize it for those that are at home. I just got a blender behind the camera here. It's gonna make some noise. Scrape it down a little bit. Usually it needs to be scraped a little bit. I do find that if you don't get it blenderized really well, it will taste great, but they will kind of fall apart, so they're hard to cut up into pieces. So just getting a good blend is good. It's okay if there's a few oatmeal pieces still visible. Oh, and Joan, you were going to share. Joan, do you mind sharing?
My daughter is and it doesn't have an egg in it, which she takes away from dairy products and eggs. So just love them, and they really weren't good for a treat for her.
Awesome. Awesome. So they are gluten-free. If you are making it to somebody with like celiac disease that truly gluten is like pretty close to life-threatening, then you do want to make sure you're getting oats that are gluten-free, because oats are gluten-free, but they could be made in a factory that's got gluten processed. So I want to make that qualification, but this is a gluten-free recipe, egg-free too. So I'm just going to then add in the chocolate chips. Now I cannot find around here mini dark chocolate chips. I wish I could. The reason why I like mini is because when you cut up these brownies, okay, this is my fussiness. When you cut up the brownies into 16 pieces, you know how you're cutting down a line and you've got a big chocolate chip, because the dark chocolate chips are always the bigger chocolate chips. It doesn't cut nice, okay? That's why I like the mini, okay? So I'm gonna add mini in here. So I did cut up dark for our tasters today. I had some dark I wanted to use, so I did chop them up. So it's not perfect, and some of them
I wasn't gonna spend a lot of time chopping them up, so, but just so you know, I'm a little, so it's fine if you want to use semi-sweet there. We've got the cocoa in there. So, I sprayed this with nonstick spray, my 8x8. You want to make sure your nonstick spray there, look at the back and look at the ingredient list. Okay, I have been fooled by sprays because they'll say olive or canola. Those are the two oils that I look for, but it'll say really tiny print, diluted. And if I didn't look at the ingredient list, it's got something palm in there. I'm like, oh. So just make sure it's okay if it has lecithin added. That's to make it spray, but you just want only olive oil or just canola oil. So I sprayed that, so they'll come out fine. And so we're just gonna spread that in real quick. We're not gonna have, I have some tasters I'll show you guys here. And so just like that, you can see we've got little pieces of oatmeal. That will be fine, but like I said, you want to kind of get it nicely blended. So let me show you. I've got raspberries here that you guys will be able to taste with it. I want to show you one there. So the idea is this is a dessert flip. So the idea is you take the dessert and shrink it down in size. And this is actually not even really shrunk down, I must say. It's not, I mean, this is not a large brownie, but it's a, 1/16. It's good size. But then add in something like the raspberries are low glycemic index, meaning of the fruits, they don't raise your blood sugar quickly. They've got all those seeds, the fiber guys, the fiber slows it down. So, and we've got smaller pieces. So again, we've got that fiber around the outside that really helps slow our blood sugar rise. And I don't know if you ever know, but chocolate and raspberry is like heaven together. So when these come out, it's very hard to let them sit, but you need to let them sit, otherwise they don't cut very well. But get them while they're warm, and then when you take a fork of the warm brownie with the raspberry, it is like heaven. It is better than just brownies, I think. So start thinking about, like, if you had a New York cheesecake or something, and I'm not encouraging you to go and eat New York, but I'm just saying the reverse dessert is like where you shrink down and then you surround it by something that's really giving you some nutrition. Like, what do you combine New York cheesecake all the time with? What? Strawberries. So what if you had a half a cup of strawberries with a little a cheesecake and sat there and savored it? Could you do that? Yeah. So it's called the dessert flip, and it's actually a concept developed by the Culinary Institute when nutritionists got together with the Culinary Institute and they started to listen. They said, let's just do a dessert flip then. It was a perfect idea. So, okay. So, see, I made a mess like I do normally. So, let me get this out. Okay. Yep. We're getting close. So, I want you to, let me grab the takeaways real quick. So let me go around. Anybody got your takeaways? I'm going to grab those. Anybody at home, if you want to send in the chat your takeaways and takeaway, just to help all of us learn together. Different things here. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You got a couple of wow. Okay. Are you free? So awesome. Much study going on there. Okay. Yes. So you got everybody. Here we go, Joan. Here we go. So I'm going to get started real quick on the cauliflower salad. I'm going to give you guys at home a second to send me something there. But the cauliflower salad I just love it this time of year. You guys are lucky too, because there's only a couple of months that I do this class a year that I actually can use pomegranates. So they're in season right now, guys. So you're not leaving this class till you know how to use a pomegranate. So first, cauliflower. If you're going, Teresa, I really just don't like cauliflower. Why did you do cauliflower? Well, just hold out, because I know cauliflower is a cruciferous. It's a little strong. It's very rough, but we're going to combine it with some flavors that really are going to create magic in your mouth. So we've got the sour apple. We grab that. Go. We've got the sour apple. I choose the sour apple because it's sour. It's sweet and sour. It goes so well with cruciferous. Okay, if you take another one of my classes, I'm going to pair it with another cruciferous, and it does magic. So, and then we're going to put a balsamic, a stronger vinegar to go with it. We're going to use a white balsamic because cauliflower, what color is cauliflower? White. And what if I used regular balsamic? It would turn it yucky, like especially in a day. So we're going to use lemon, get the acid there. Oh my goodness. And then a little bit of sweet with the maple syrup. We just have 2 teaspoons, guys, and it will be magic in your mouth. And then we have a little crunchy with pistachios. Who loves pistachios? Oh my goodness, I love them. Lightly salted from Walmart. I have trouble at Hy-Vee. It's one thing is there's certain Hy-Vees that I can only shop at with my corporate account. So it might be that. Some olive oil and some pomegranate. So let's throw it together. Let me start with the cauliflower. So I want you to be comfortable. I've already got my cauliflower chopped, as you can see here, but I want you to be comfortable chopping it up, okay? I've heard stories of people spending like 20 minutes cutting up cauliflower. No, guys, I know you don't have that time, and I don't either. It should take like 20 seconds. Who wants to time me? Who's going to time me? You going to time me there?
I got
Who's, raise your hand. I heard the voice. Okay. Okay, say go when you're ready.
it. Go.
Half, quarter. Take off quarter. Take off the triangle end there. I think I got one more left. No, this one over here, it fell. Okay. There. So take those off. And then I just start breaking it up. Now, Mother Nature, I can take off a little bit and do some V's in there if I want to, but I'm pretty much done breaking it up. How long did that take?
29 seconds.
29 seconds. Okay. So not quite 20. So, okay. But the point is I chopped it in half down the core, then into quarters. And then there's that triangle that you see at the top. It thins out and it's thicker down at the core. It's like a triangle. Did you see that there? I know I went quick. Sorry, guys. So, but that triangle you just chop off. And then you can break it apart. Sometimes it will lovely break apart. Sometimes these bigger ones, I just do like a V cut into them because you usually don't like, and then we can break up this a little more. So I did do smaller pieces here because I want everybody to have a taste, but you see how quick that is. That's easy. And yes, you can buy cauliflower already chopped, but why? So, okay. So let's put that over there. So next thing I want to show you how to do is pomegranate. So pomegranate. Now this is actually a pretty one. I already de-seeded a couple, but people I think don't understand. Pomegranates are beautiful, but they have a lot of character when they get to the store. So don't be afraid if it's like a dungy kind of brownish parts of it. It's beautiful on the inside, okay? And it usually keeps for 1 to 3 weeks on your counter. So I've done that. So let me show you how to de-seed it. Cauliflower there. So we're going to cut it down here and open it up. Look at that beautiful inside. Look at that. Who would have known? Look at that beautiful seeds. So the trick is now if you want to spend like 15 minutes, you can take a spoon in there and try and scoop it out. No, this is much more fun. So we're going to take it. You want a deep bowl. You don't want to be wearing white. Okay. So, but I'm going to take the pomegranate here, put it on my webbed finger. I prefer a wooden spoon, but this is all we got. So I'm going to start deep down in the bowl. Don't hit your fingers though. So, and as it loosens up, actually, let me show you. Actually, I should have, if you kind of squeeze it a little bit, it loosens it up, the seeds there. There we go. So now we can hit it. They won't just fall out. You got to get some stress out. So, but they will start falling out. This is much more fun. And you just keep doing that. And they will come out. And it's much cheaper than buying those pomegranate seeds. And one time I bought those pomegranate seeds. I swear I used them, like tasted them the next day. And it felt like I was drinking wine. They had like turned. And I paid like $5 for the thing. So was like really upset. So now you know how to do your pomegranate. So we're going to add that in there. And this time of year, you can add it to all kinds of salads. If you do that, if you're serving it at like a nice holiday meal, wait, because the ones that you buy are a little kind of drained of the juice, which is part of the wonderful nutrition and flavor. But so just add it at the last minute because it's going to kind of make things red. So some people have done that. They're like, oh, I wish I had not added it like 2 hours before. So just add the sprinkled red just before. So, okay, we're going to throw together the sauce with, okay, we've got olive oil. We've got now this I can only get at Hy-Vee. I don't know about Fairway. I can't get it at Walmart for some reason, the white balsamic. It's called white balsamic vinegar. So you can use regular vinegar. It's just that in a day, it kind of like, it's like, oh, it just doesn't look as appetizing. So, okay. And then the lemon, you can use jar lemon juice. I use fresh. So you can squeeze a lemon. You don't need to buy a squeezer for a lemon. You can just use your tongs, roll it a couple times to break some of those, the cells near the surface and just squeeze it then. So you have your own squeezer. You don't need to buy some. Plus, I don't like dirty dishes. So, okay, so we've got our dressing. So I'm just gonna then toss that. I made a double batch here, that's why. And then I'm gonna toss that there. And I'm gonna sprinkle on some of my seeds there. And the pistachio. Oh, where's my apples? Right there. Oh, there they are. There they are. So look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look how easy that was. How easy that was. So now the apple should be fine once you toss it with some of the dressing. I cheated. I tossed mine with some lemon juice before. So that's why they didn't turn green or brown. So this is a great, especially for the holidays. I just love. You're going to be the talk of the town if you take that to an event. So everybody's be like, "Can I have the recipe?" I actually have 2 people that they ask, "Can I make that? If I have any leftovers, could I bring it over?" So they love it. So, so that I love the cauliflower salads. I have a handful of salads. What I do is I'll make that on Sunday and I'll eat it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. So it's good that long, guys. Now, is it like guest serving on Thursday? Maybe not. It still tastes great. So that's one of kind of the hacks that I do for keeping healthy because I don't have time to be in the kitchen either. So, but I want to eat whole food and I want to live till I'm 100 and live independently and travel the world or I don't know, hang out with my kids if they'll let me. So, but it requires eating whole foods and a lot of fruits and vegetables. And there you go. I mean, that's to me, it's delicious. So don't be afraid if you're like, Teresa, well, that sour apple was just a little too sour for me. Substitute then a Fuji apple. Okay. So if you're like, pistachios aren't my thing. Well, what can you substitute, guys? Walnuts. Oh, I love walnuts and salads. So almonds, pecans. So feel free to change these things up. If you'd like the sweetness just turned up a little bit, hey, add another teaspoon of maple syrup. That's fine, guys. You've got to make it so that you love it. So, okay, so I want real quickly, I know we're over. I want to read our takeaways while you guys are figuring out your action steps. So let's see, no crash diets, less sodium. The difference between fat and muscle weight. Yes, I know, we preserve that muscle. Carbs are okay. Yes, they are. It's the fiber we want to incorporate with that. How important fiber is for the body and good health. Fiber, our friend. I like that. White bread. Yeah, that's not got the fiber. So that's one goes on the less often list. Good carbs. Yes, fiber is good. Yes, it is. Increase fiber, eat better to feel better. Complex carbs are better, eat more fiber, and carbs are not all bad. Yes, yes, yes. So true, so true. So thank you guys so much. I love it seeing everybody here. I can't wait till next week till we talk about snacks, and we have one that has chocolate because you know I love chocolate. So be ready for a little more chocolate. And your action steps. So make sure you've checked off 1 or 2 action steps. Not any more than that, guys, unless you have a super boring life with lots of time and you're lost with what to do with it. Do not, okay? So you guys have a lot on your plate and you're here, and I really value that and appreciate it and feel privileged to be part of your Wednesday evening. So thank you.